Welcome back, everyone, to the Song of Waves and Wind, where last time I managed to grab some orders off of Gomakboro, where he was ordered to open up a certain gate that would cause a flooding to Otagim if he saw any trouble in there, and last time I forgot to burn the orders, so let's take care of that now. You have saved the residents of Vadagim from the devastation that would have been caused by the opening of the Wireway Gate, at least for now. You will need to find some way to oppose the song without endangering the peaceful Kentai of Sulmadesh or of others who live in the lands through which Sunagir would flood at Gombruk Elboros' command. Alright, so we shall have to take care of that now. That that's settled, we need to continue with our inspection, and I need it on this section of the shipyard. But of course, there may be guards who do not like random hobbits running through their shipyard. I don't know why. I suppose it could be something about stealing orders and burning them and stuff like that. I mean, that might give them a reason not to want me here. I'm sure that by the time we're done with this, if someone has an opportunity to sketch my portrait, that they will say, okay, see this person? Keep them out! Whatever you do, don't let this person be around. Now, let's see. I guess I need to go that way? Well then, I am definitely not in the optimal position for that. Shoot. Down and... Oh well. Sometimes you just... Oh, I was about to say take the crunchy route, but it looks like I didn't do any crunching. Yay! Good. Now, let's see. That's a bit short. How about up here? This might be the right way to go in order to foil their plans, or at least see what's going on in the wait. I was saying something about every time I look at this, I feel like I need to add another dozen to the total. Maybe I should stop the inspection so that we could just stop at 3 dozen. Though I suspect at this rate, it'll be 4 before I do anything else anyway. Alright, so now. Gee, I should be close to one of the inspection points, I think. Well, I'm also close to this air sworn. Hello! Goodbye! Anyway, we're checking out the southeast parts. The shell of the ship awaits to be completed among the finished brethren. Well, if they're going to wait for this ship to be finished, we've got plenty of time. Though, of course... Oh, orcs, of course. I was wondering who would be flying the eye as their symbol at this point. It sort of went obsolete a couple of months ago. And I mean, a couple of months ago game time. Because... How many expansions back is it since the ring took a little mishap in a volcano? Well, now I need to get to the next point of the inspection, which means I need to go this way? Well, what could possibly go wrong? Yes, you don't need to make the list. You don't need to make a full list of that. Now, let's see. I know a few things can go wrong for the Mordecai. Let's see up around here, around here. Mm, I'm amongst tents and not amongst. I think. I was about to say, how am I going to get to the road? Then, salvation in the form of an opening, an aperture, a gateway, a place where a hobbit can sneak by. Now, this is not exactly what we call the. This is actually true. This is. I was thinking this was Orcish territory, but I just realized all the guards I've run into were Orcish or Airsworn or no, definitely Corsairs. Okay, Airsworn then. And now let's get along this way. I guess they're not as decorative as the Orcish because the Orcish really know how to decorate. Actually, Actually, this is an Mordecai soldier right here. So I am complete. Must be the low class ones, the ones who can't afford all those colors and the like. Spend all their money on armor. That is completely useless against Hobbit spears, apparently. One of the places I'm supposed to inspect are the forges, which I would presume are these things. Anvils stand unused by the southeast forges. Are the crews already armed? Okay. In other words, they would have been busier back when they were actually preparing the weapons. So that just leaves the lumber piles. I guess that's what these are, right? Doesn't seem to be much left. Piles of timber stand idle on the eastern side of the shipyard. Okay, that finishes the inspection. Your exploration of the shipyard add to the Starkhaven has revealed something troubling. Despite the hive of activity it must have been over the years, construction has not slowed no down tremendously. Has now slowed tremendously. Oh yes, many ships remain unfinished, and skeletal hulls stand where they were begun. The Song of Waves and Wind has no need for further ships. The fleet is large enough already, and the threat it poses is very real. You and your friends must do something, or all of coastal Middle Earth is in danger. All right. So, in other words, they have taken an analysis and decided, okay, we've got enough, so let's just not build anymore. I think I found the exit to the town. So let's get out of there. And there, I believe, is the bridge to the island. And that island is where I'm to meet with Gordon, right? As I approach the bridge, I see. Oh, that's right. I was wondering, wait a minute. How are those ships going to get through past the bridge? And that's because the bridge only goes to the island. And that they'll just sail on the other side of the island, which I presume does not have a bridge blocking. Though these are ships I haven't counted before. Oh my! There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. About 2 more dozen. So does that make 5 dozen in all? Oi, let's see, 5 dozen ships coming out from the Ikorban River and then heading towards Gondor. Well, I guess that depends on how many ships are in the Gondorian fleet. And based on what happened in the War of the Ring, I will say that the number is a lot fewer than 5 dozen. Well, now, how do I find? See, anyone up around here? Nope. So, That's one checkpoint gone. There are no enemies there either. I got the impression from the banner that some Orcakai should be in the area. Yeah. I think I'll leave the estimate at 2 dozen. At least on this side of it. I'm sure there are other sides and stuff like that, but I think I took those into account already. Maybe you need a good vantage point to make sure I haven't overcounted any. Not that a couple of extra ships in the rendering is going to make that much of a difference. Now, let's see. What do we got here? We have got... where am I supposed to go? I seem to be getting too close to the end of the road. I'm pretty sure it's not up the hill, because I think the hill is being held by the Ordach. So that means hold on. There we go. This looks promising. See? So hidden, I have a lot of trouble finding it. You have found Sigilith's encampment in the Fearwater. Alright. Hello there, Sigilith.
Welcome to Sugnida. I have taken...
I have taken this campsite from the soldiers who made it. I have named it Fearwater Notch, and it's now mine. Should they return, they will not live long enough to inform anyone of our presence here. These others dislike the Orcakai as much as we do, and have offered their services to us. For now, they have my trust. For now. And did my brother tell you that we encountered Kuردwan on the road to this place? And she has gone down to the water northeast of here, intending to perform an investigation of some sort. I pressed her not on the subject, but what I understood from her mumblings and musings was that she hoped to find some means of sinking the song to the bottom of the lake. Well, that would be good news if she could do that. You just see if the Gold Maiden found success. Such a thing would be very helpful to us. That's an understatement. I do wonder, how do you get mail service to this place? Oh well. Let us just go and see if we can find Kuردwan, and then take care of all this. And I guess the Orcakai will just assume that this is one of their camps, because it used to be. So all will be well. Now, let's see down here. Sheesh. The edge of the water or something like that. See, find Kuردwan northeast of your water notch by the shore. Alright, by the shore. Down this way. Oops. Oh, there she is. You have spotted Kuردwan standing by a small, sunken rowboat. Well, I don't... Big fleet.
I see you found your way here. Have you brought the wizard Inkanush with you?
Ikanush would be most interested to hear what I have learned. Well, unfortunately, Ikanush has remained behind when I came in search of the Song of Ways of Wind, but I am interested to hear what you discovered. Watch this. After you and Ikanush left Sud Madash, my steps took me to Livarth, and the Kinta Shadal spoke to me of her experimentations with the Lag Davrit. She told me that you helpfully provided a number of blight samples, finally, but that when they were added to water in time, they damaged the integrity of the bucket that held it. The wooden slats of the bucket fell apart, spilling the water onto the ground. Yes, I do remember that incident. I have done the same to this rowboat that I have found moored alongside the island. In a matter of moments, a small sample of the blight that damaged the seals held together the boat, causing it to take on water and sink. Most curious. I have a feeling how this is going to be relevant. I am ready to return to the Fearwater Notch if you are. My investigation here is complete, and in it I have a means to destroy the fleet of the enemies of the natural order think to wield against the Kentai and the other peoples of Shigana. So Nadir may not bear yet well become a watery grave for the song of waves and wind. All right, yes. So you were hoping that the ships are susceptible to this means of sinking as buckets and boats are. It appears that Cornier is back. Hello, Siglet. I'm back.
Has Kuridwan found what she sought?
Yes, the Gold Maiden managed to find that we could use the blight to sink a boat at least. Now we can only see if it works on a ship. A means of utilizing the blight to destroy the Song of Waves and Wind? Let us hope that she's right, for our sake and for that of all of Middle Earth. But it is not enough to sink the ships. We must also combat the crews that were mustered, and the leaders who drive them to war. All right, a three-pronged approach.
Together, we may yet defeat the schemes of Nakasi and Balakot, but it will not be easy.
Aid each of our companions with their task that they chose for themselves, and together we will be able to ensure that the Song of Waves and Wind can never leave Sug Nidar. Alright, so complete a quest for Kuradon, for Cordon, for Kuradwan, and for Rahazi. Alright? Everyone wants me to do something. Well, what do you need, Coroner?
The song of waves and wind would be dangerous enough by itself, but Nakasi has armed it with terrifying weapons.
I know not how far, for how long Koltek has been working in secret with Nakasi, but he had his eye upon the stockpile of hungry fire from the moment we discovered it within Ashagir. Did he wait until you traveled into Murkala with Inkanush and Glorfindel to give the command for his underlings to transport the Narhak to Sugnadar? And the timing no longer matters. What does matter to us is that we prevent the song from being equipped with the weapons capable of using the hungry fire against its enemies. There must be a workshop of some kind within Starkhaven where such weapons can be assembled. Let us search for it among the buildings of Starkhaven on the western shores of the Fearwater. If we can destroy the Narcotic stockpile, these weapons will stand empty and unused. In other words, they'll just use regular spears with, well, whatever you're going to smear on them if you wanted to cause fires. Let's see. Now we have cured one. I mean, I was going to say with something like Greek fire, but I suspect that this stuff that they're using and stockpiling all this stuff is probably the closest thing Middle Earth has to Greek fire. Okay, and here we have cured one.
I never expected to use the blight for a good purpose. But this is truly a day for surprises.
Some of the mysteries that plagued Hilar and Adagim have been made clear to me now that I see what has transpired within the Fearwater. For many years I believed the floods cascading into the Adagim from the north were caused when spring rains overfed the Orkaban Valley, but it was not so. The Orakai dredged an old tributary channel, carving a path north from Nidar. Now the floods that might have destroyed their wharves were instead spilled into Adagim, already suffering from the blight. Was the extent of Lagdavrit worsened by the annual floods and the noisome bog which they contributed? It must have been. All right. In other words, you have the whatever the natural spring floods would be, plus spring floods being diverted from other people being diverted these into there on top of that, and maybe an occasional opening of certain gates in order to spill even more water. Yeah, this is a mess. But now I have need of the blight to counter the Orchai fleet, and its pervasive reach will be of use to us. Pods of the blight push into Nadir and Adagim, and they have taken root within the narrow vale just outside of the eastern entrance to the Stark Haven, not far from the long bridge that leads to this island. Take this sack and trowel and collect samples of the blighted paws for me while you combat some of the creatures that now push into Sugnidar. I will meet you outside that blighted place once you have done this. All right. And who knows, maybe someday I could even say Sugnidar correctly. But this is not the day. Hello, Rahazi. What do you need?
Starkhaven swarms with Airsworn corsairs and soldiers of Ordach.
But at Nakasi's command, these soldiers will board the ships and sail to war. I trust in Kurd One's plan, but even if the fleets of the Song are made unable to sail, these enemies will remain to threaten the Urkaban Valley and my home in Ambarul. Okay, so she is concerned about the crews who will, if we're lucky, they disband. If we're unlucky, they will turn into an army that will come. Yeah, I can see her concern for that. Even a single sword can inflict great injury, Pineleaf. Let us defeat these foes and wrest from them their blades. Then we will dump them in the water on the northeastern shore of the island and ensure that they cannot be wielded against the peaceful residents along this river, should the Golden Maiden's plan prove unsuccessful. Okay, so defeat Airsworn in Sugnidar and take their weapons, and defeat Mordecai in Sugnidar and take their weapons. In other words, take weapons, kill the soldiers, take the weapons. So, let's see what we need to do now. Well, first of all, let's remove this in here so I don't have that misleading me where I need to go. So I need to find the dreaded fire. I need to find some blight samples, and I need to defeat some of the local soldiers. And that's what we're going to do in the next episode of the Song of Waves and Wind.